guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm finally recording my ketogenic diet video, ketogenic lifestyle. I've been wanting to film this for quite a while, pretty much since I started my channel, but I really didn't think anyone had an interest in it. And then I've been using my Instagram a lot and posting, like my food and, talking about, my lifestyle over there. And I've had a lot of questions and, people making comments, and I've had people private messaging me, asking me questions. And I thought I would finally just record a video. I'm just going to basically discuss what keto is, my experiences with it, how I do keto, and basically just, my experiences with it. So let's go ahead and get started. So first of all, I have my little book here of notes to keep me on track. I don't want this video to get too long because keto is a very extensive topic. So I want to kind of stay on track. So what is keto? Keto is basically a lifestyle where you consume high fat food and low carbs and then moderate protein. So normally your body runs off of sugar, glycogen, which comes from carbs. Sugars, carbs, they're the same thing. So your body normally runs off of those sugars. With keto, what you do is you starve your body of those sugars and you eat high fat. And then your body will eventually start producing what's called ketones. It's called ketosis when your body has these ketones. It's called ketosis. It's a metabolic state. And then your body is retrained to run off of those fats instead of the sugars. So there's a lot of science behind keto. People think, but you have to have sugar. Your body's designed to, run off of sugar. Well, it's designed that way now because that's the way our bodies have adapted. But if you think about it, back in the day, like cavemen, they didn't have all these processed carbs, processed potato chips and all that crap. They didn't have all that. Basically what they ate was meat and whatever vegetation they could find. And that's all low carb food. So if you think about, back in the day, like I said, their bodies ran off of fat. And they weren't eating 5-6 times a day with snacks. They were eating sometimes one meal a day, sometimes every couple days. That's how our bodies were initially designed to run. So people that tell you, ketosis, it's not healthy for you. Well, that's not true because our bodies were actually designed to run that way. So like I said, it's a lifestyle. A lot of people, they'll go on a diet, they'll lose the weight, and then just like any other regular diet, we call it a lifestyle, but a lot of people say it's just a diet. If you go back to the way you were before, you're going to gain all that weight back. Well, it's the same thing with keto. You can lose all the weight on keto, and then once you start eating the carbs again, you're going to start gaining the weight back if you're eating carbs consistently. So with keto, like I said, you starve your body of the carbs. So most people for keto will keep their net carbs under 20 to 25. So by net carbs, that means your total carbs. So when you read your package of food, it'll say, or it'll say total carb, it'll say carbs. And then underneath it, it'll say fiber. And then if you're eating sugar alcohols, which we'll talk about in a little bit, underneath that, it'll say the number of sugar alcohols. So for net carbs, which is what most people track for keto, you take your carbs, you minus the fiber. So if there's 10 carbs and then there's 5 fiber, you minus the 5, and that's 5 net carbs. And then if there's sugar alcohol, say there's 3 sugar alcohols, you then take the 5 minus the 3 and you're left with 2. So you're left with 2 net carbs. So with keto, most people try to keep their net carbs under 20. Some people, you can experiment in the beginning. Some people, their bodies can tolerate more carbs while they're still losing the weight. Other people need to have less carbs. For me personally, I keep my carbs well under 20, especially when I'm doing OMAD, which we'll talk about in a little bit. If I'm doing intermittent fasting and not OMAD, then it's a little harder. Not harder, but I consume more carbs. So we'll get into that in a little bit. So when you keep your carb count very low, your body, like I said, goes into ketosis. It can take a while. Like some people, it takes a few days. Some people can take up to a week. Some people, it takes a few more weeks to go into ketosis. Then once you go into ketosis, when your body is finally, and this takes a while, but your body will become what's called fat adapted. And this means that your body is trained to run off of fats. This is when your body wants to eat fats. And when you eat carbs after you've been trained to eat, the fat, your body doesn't like it. It doesn't like all these carbs. And your body, so when you're really fat adapted, I've been doing keto for a year and a half. I'm fully fat adapted. My body loves running off of fat. So even when I have a cheat day, my body is still burning the fat, and so I don't gain the weight because I'm still fat adapted. And once I go back to eating my fat, I quickly, jump back into ketosis, and, I don't derail any of my progress. So why I started keto? Well, when I was a child, I was underweight, and then as a teenager, I'm just giving you some backstory. As a teenager, I was very thin. I was always very thin, but healthy. As a teenager, I was finally healthy weight. I was thin, but I was healthy. And then, I went into the Army. I was in the best shape of my life. And then I got out, I had my kids. I didn't work out when I had my son. I was just fresh out of the Army from working out all the time, and I hate exercise. And I'm like, oh, I'm pregnant now, I'm not gonna work out. And I had my first son, gained some weight for the first time. I was, had a lot of extra weight. I didn't gain I think I gained like 35 pounds with my first son. And then I lost most of it, like 30-ish pounds. But, my stomach, I still had, my, mom's stomach. And then I had my second son. And by this point, I was in nursing school. So, I was in school and then coming home, taking care of the kids, and, wasn't eating that great. And then by this point, and then I was a nurse, and I've been working nights my entire career. So I've been a nurse for 8.5 years. So I've worked nights the entire time. And when you're working the night shift, you eat unhealthily. So, I'm eating lunch at 2 a.m. I'm eating soda. I'm eating chips. I'm eating, sodas to stay, awake, to energize myself. And when you're working nights and then you're sleeping all day, and all that food is just sitting there, and it's just unhealthy. And then on my days off, my body is wired to eat at 2 a.m. because that's what I've been eating, the whole time I've been a nurse. I'm eating at 2 a.m. And I'm a night owl. I don't sleep. That's why I work nights. So I'm always awake at 2 a.m. So it's 2 a.m. I'm hungry because my body says, oh, it's lunchtime, it's 2 a.m. And because I don't want to wake my family up, I don't want to full on cook things. So I just will quickly eat something garbage, like chicken nuggets, something that I can just eat quietly. So after, several years of this, the weight just started coming on. And before I knew it, I was up to I'll say it, I didn't want to have to get into weight and stuff, but I was up to 155, which I've never been 155. I'm not saying, just a little disclaimer, I'm not saying that's fat, that's disgusting, whatever. For me personally, for my frame, for the way I felt, I didn't like it. My stomach was just, I was uncomfortable in my own skin. My face was, like a balloon. I didn't even really realize it until I was looking at, pictures. I just felt sluggish. I had no energy, and I decided the drawing point for me was, I'm a float pool nurse now. I used to work on a specific unit, but I'm a float pool nurse now. And one night I was walking in the halls, and I saw a nurse that I hadn't seen in quite a while, probably a good 6 months. I hadn't seen her because I hadn't worked with her. And she looked at me and she says, wow, Jackie, you've really put on a lot of weight. She wasn't being malicious. It was just, she saw me. That was just her reaction. But for me, it was an extreme wake-up call, and I knew that I had to do something. If it's to the point where someone's actually commenting, I had to do something. So I did a lot of research on keto, and I decided that's what I wanted to do. And so I just jumped right into it. I went cold turkey, jumped right into it. I started with intermittent fasting. So let me explain intermittent fasting and OMAD, and then we can continue. So intermittent fasting is when you eat all of your calories in a small window. Most people's window is between 4 and 6 hours. So that means you only eat all your carbs for the day in that 4 to 6 hour window, and the rest of the time you're not eating. So what happens, every time you eat, your body creates insulin. And it takes 12 hours, at least 12 hours for your body to get rid of all the insulin that's in your body. So most people, they're ingrained to eat breakfast, lunch, dinner, snack, and a dessert before they go to bed, whatever. So every time you eat, you're spiking more insulin in your body. And because you're not going at least 12 hours without eating, there's always insulin in your body. And what happens is you eventually create what's called insulin resistance. It's where your body just can't accurately get rid of all this insulin. The insulin, rather than going into your cells, is just floating around in your body. And so women that are trying, everyone, but it's really hard for women to get rid of their belly fat because they'll create what's called insulin resistance. And when there's insulin in your body can't fight the fat because it has to fight the insulin first. So for women especially, they have all these hormones, they have, their belly fat, they have all this insulin that's in their body, and they can diet all they want, and they can never get rid of that belly fat, which is where, most women's main fat is. Because yes, they may be, starving themselves, calorie restricting, whatever, but you're constantly eating, and so there's all this insulin in your body, so your body can't get past the insulin to start eating the fat that's on your stomach. So, and it's, like I said, it's harder for women to lose that fat too for, other factors, but insulin resistance plays a key role in it. So when you do intermittent fasting, which is, like I said, is when you only eat in a small window, and then the rest of that window, like 16, 18 hours, however long, up to 20 hours, however long your fasting window is, takes roughly 12 hours for your body to get rid of all that insulin. After that 12 hours, anything past that 12 hours that you're not eating, your body is now working on the fat. So that's where intermittent fasting is extremely important for those that want to lose weight. If you want to lose weight and not do keto, you can just do intermittent fasting and your body will lose the weight. So for me, I jumped right into intermittent fasting, which actually was perfect for me because I never liked eating breakfast anyways. It was hard for me. I had to break the cycle of not eating at 2 a.m. That part was hard for me. But like if I sleep through it, which I don't really sleep, so it was kind of hard, but theoretically if I could sleep past that window and then wake up and I've already skipped breakfast, that's how I like to be anyways. Hold on, my son's about to come through the door. Hold on. So I jumped right into intermittent fasting. I started with, let me explain OMAD real quick. So OMAD stands for 1 meal a day, which a lot of people on keto like to do OMAD. So OMAD is literally 1 meal a day. So you only eat 1 meal. So for me, it would be dinner. I'll explain how I got into OMAD. You eat that 1 meal a day. You eat enough carbs to sustain you, enough fat and all your calories, all your meal, everything that you need for that day, you eat in that 1 meal. And then you could wait like an hour and then have like a snack, and that's still considered OMAD, even though you're technically eating twice. But if it's within like an hour or 2 window, that's called OMAD. So I was doing intermittent fasting. I wasn't eating till at least 12 o'clock and then stopped eating around 8 o'clock at night. So I had like an 8-hour window in the beginning. And then I wasn't hungry. When you're doing keto and you're doing intermittent fasting, if you're eating enough fat, you're gonna find that you're not hungry. So I would push it back, 1 o'clock, it's 2 o'clock. I'm gonna go out, I'm gonna run errands. I don't feel like eating right now, so I don't eat. And then I come home, it's at this point already 4 o'clock. My family's gonna be home, I'm gonna be eating dinner with my family in an hour, 2 hours. I might as well just wait. So before I knew it, I was slowly pushing intermittent fasting so far that it just became OMAD. It was 1 meal a day. So I was eating that 1 meal a day with my family, eating my food, and then, they're eating their food, which I'll explain more later. And then I would just, after my meal, like an hour or so, about an hour later, I would eat my healthy snack, which we'll talk about later. And I was doing OMAD. And so before I knew it, the weight was just coming off. I was never hungry. My cravings were just disappearing because I'm having such a large window of not eating. The fat was just melting off because all my insulin was, leaving my body and all the fat was melting off. So I was doing OMAD. It took me like 3 months, 2-3 months, I instantly lost 20 pounds. Like the first week you lose like 7 pounds. You're losing all that water weight. And then within a couple months, I lost 20 pounds. Then it took me several months to lose the remaining 15 pounds. So 17 pounds. I initially lost 37 pounds. So I was down to initially I was down to like 118. And then last year over the holidays, it was Christmas and then my son's birthday, and then it was our anniversary. We had family in town. I gained 5 pounds water weight because, eating. And then I lost it all instantly, but my body held on to those to 2 pounds. So I've been 120 since last Christmas. I haven't gained a single pound. So overall, my weight loss was 35 pounds. But my size is just, I've gone down to a size 4. I was a size 12. I've gone down to a size 4. Sometimes I fit into size 2 on certain things. I just overall am feeling happy. I'm working out now. That's a different story. So although I haven't lost any more weight, my body's still continuing to change. So for me, I don't so much look at the scale anymore. I just look at how my body's, reacting. So what was I saying? So once I lost that initial 20 pounds, it took me a long time to lose the remainder 15, 17 pounds. If you have a lot of weight to lose, like people that have 100 pounds to lose, they will lose, I've heard so many stories, they'll lose 60 pounds within 3 months, which to me is just mind-boggling. The less weight you have to lose, I think the slower it takes, because your body just doesn't want to give up that fat store, you know what I'm saying? So let's start getting into tips. We'll try to speed this up a little bit. So tips, in the beginning, you might get what's called keto flu. This is where your body is just getting used to going off the carbs, and you start to feel kind of sick. That's why they call it the flu. You're losing electrolytes because you're not eating as much. You're not eating, when you're eating all these carbs and sugars, your body's retaining water, and you're no longer retaining all that water. So you start going through what's called keto flu. And ways that you can combat keto flu is to drink bone broth. I hate bone broth. I thought it was disgusting. You can do just regular beef broth if you don't want to do the bone broth, but you should try the bone broth. You always, going forward, forever, you want to add Himalayan salt to your food. This is just to help make sure that you're getting enough salt and help with making sure you're getting your electrolytes. Because if you're not getting enough electrolytes, potassium, things like that, you're going to start to feel sick again. For me, in the beginning, I tried doing apple cider vinegar shots. Apple cider vinegar is supposed to be extremely healthy for you. Really helps get rid of stomach fat. A lot of health benefits to apple cider vinegar that I'm not really going to get into in this video. I tried doing it, and it was just so disgusting, and I would forget to do it. And when you do the shots, you have to brush your teeth immediately because it's acid. It can erode your teeth. So I would already have brushed my teeth, and I'm like, oh, I didn't do my shot. So I kind of did them in the beginning, but not really. But that's a tip that if you want to speed along your weight loss and have other benefits, you can do apple cider vinegar. It's very important in the beginning that you track all of your carbs, because most people don't even understand how many carbs are in what they're eating. Like a banana, you think a banana, oh, that's so healthy, you can have a banana. Bananas alone are like 35 carbs for one banana. So I use an app called Stupid Simple Keto. You type in information, how old you are, how much you weigh, how much you want to weigh, and it's going to calculate what your macros should be. So macros are how much fat, how much protein, how much carbs. Those are called macros. It's going to tell you how many of each you should be eating. So for me, like I said, I always kept my carbs under 20. It told me I was supposed to be like around 20. So your fat percentage should usually be around 75%. Your carbs should always be under 5%, and then your protein should be like around 20%. So I use that app. I use that for the first 4 months. Everything that I ate, I would put into this thing, and it would tell me, okay, you've had this many carbs, you have this many left to eat, this much fat, you need to increase, whatever. After that, in the beginning, I was experimenting with different things that I was eating, so I was still learning. After that, I got a routine of everything that I was eating. I was basically eating the same things, and to this day, I still pretty much eat the same things. So I no longer need to track. I just know this is roughly how many carbs I'm eating. I know. This video is getting really long, you guys. I think I'm going to end up doing this into 2 parts, and I'll upload them at the same time, but so that you guys can watch them in 2 parts. So I think I'm going to break down food into a separate video. So let me see. Let me just go through here really quick just to make sure. So I would use the tracker, and then like I said, I pretty much eat the same things now. Let me see, I'm just gonna go through this too. Okay. Yeah, so the rest of my tips that I have so far are meals and how I eat and different things. So I think I'm going to make that a second video, but like I said, they'll be uploaded at the same time so you can watch them at the same time. Let's kind of talk about health benefits really quick. And then I can do the food as like a separate video. Okay, so there's a lot of health benefits to keto, not just losing weight. For me personally, the two or three greatest benefits that I saw, that alone is what's going to keep me doing keto forever. So I suffered migraines. I've had migraines my entire life. When I was a child, I used to get them at least once a week, and then as an adult, I get them like twice a year. But I was getting headaches every single day, very bad headaches, not a migraine, but headaches. Sometimes I was getting 2-3 headaches a day. I was also having severe indigestion, heartburn, GERD, whatever you want to call it. So bad that when I would lay down, I have to lay on my left side. And if I would try to sleep on my right side, and with your anatomy, when you sleep on your right side, the way that your anatomy is, the bile is more prone to come up when you're on your right side, just the way your anatomy is. And for me, it was like instantaneous. My indigestion at night was so severe that I was having to sit up and I was almost, throwing up every single night. Like, that's how severe it was. And also my energy level, like I said at work, I was just so sluggish. So for me, once I started doing keto and I was really into it and the fat adaptation and all that, my headaches disappeared. I was getting 1 or 2 headaches a month instead of 1 or 2 headaches a day. My indigestion completely gone. Like, I no longer have this severe heartburn. And my energy, like, yes, I'm, can be lazy at times, but, my energy, I still have, I have so much more energy. I feel healthier. So for me, those are the greatest health benefits that I've seen. I'm kind of reading off the list because I don't want to forget anything. Other health benefits that come from keto, and some of, these have been proven. Some of them are still testing, whatever theories. Epilepsy. So low carb diet was initially, Atkins and all that was the original, was originally created for epileptic patients. When the carbs are down, the seizures, epilepsy is when you have seizures, the seizures, seem to stop or they lessen. Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, any of these neurological diseases have been known to improve or halt with low carb. It's not a cure. There's no cure for Alzheimer's. There's no cure as of now for Parkinson's. We have, can mask the symptoms of Parkinson's, but there's no cure. Increased mood, because sugar, when you're eating a lot of sugar, you get that high and then you crash and you get irritable. So it can increase your mood by not eating a lot of carbs. Decrease hunger and cravings. That's absolutely true. When you starve your body of those carbs and all the insulin finally leaves your body, the insulin, the sugar spikes, that's what makes you hungry. That's what makes you have the cravings. When all that leaves your body, your hunger decreases, it diminishes, and your cravings disappear. Blood sugar is not constantly fluctuating. Like I said, every time you eat, you spike insulin, your blood sugar goes up. So for diabetics, it's very wonderful for diabetics. Of course, you have to be careful that your blood sugar doesn't drop too low. Diabetes stabilizes your insulin levels. Your blood pressure can help lower your blood pressure because you're not retaining all the salt from all the carbs that you're eating. Fatty liver can help women with PCOS. I haven't researched any of that, so I don't know for sure. I don't suffer from that either, but studies show it helps with PCOS. It's good for the heart. You're not retaining all that water weight. Helps you sleep better. Not me personally. Personally, I still have insomnia and, clears up your skin. They say it can help fight cancer. A lot of studies are showing that cancers are caused by all these sugars. So they're saying that it can help decrease cancer risk, improve brain function. You're going to have a lot more memory. You're just going to be sharper. Cholesterol. Some people say that it will increase cholesterol because you're eating all that fat. Studies show that it really doesn't. I'll talk about this later, but I actually had labs, I'll talk about now. I had labs drawn, not because of keto, but I just happened to have had labs drawn shortly before I started keto, and then I just recently had labs drawn, and my cholesterol, the high cholesterol, the bad cholesterol, stayed the same, but my good cholesterol has shot up. So my cholesterol is actually, because I have good cholesterol now, is better. And then, okay, so those are a lot of the health benefits. There's a lot of what people will say are the negatives. I'm not going to get into all of those. I'm just going to, you got to do your own research. I'm just going to discuss my only negative, and it's a big negative, but it's already resolving itself. Hair loss. So when you go on keto and you're starving yourself of all those carbs, your body can kind of go through like a shock, and you can lose a lot of your hair. So last year, I started noticing just massive like shedding when I would brush my hair. I didn't notice any like bald spots or anything, but massive shedding, like double, like what it should be, just massive shedding. And then I had ultra long hair. It was like down to my waist. And so for work, my hair is always up in buns or braids. And a lot of times I would do my hair before I would look in the mirror to see the back of my head. So I never really saw that I was getting thin spots because my hair was always up by the time I looked, and so I kind of combed over. And then last October, I went to get a haircut. So my ultra long hair, I cut up to here. And I went home and looked in the mirror to see my haircut, and there was just massive like spots everywhere. My center part, which normally stopped right here, was all the way back here to the back of my head, and it was extremely wide. My center part was like this wide, all the way to the back of my head. All in here was thinning, so when I pulled my hair back, suddenly I could see all the bald spots. So that, woman's hair, that's like, so that was my only negative. When I saw that, I was like absolutely devastated. My hair was so thin, and even when I would put it up now, suddenly like I could just see all these, and I would have to like comb to try to cover, and I was using those hair fibers. So what I did is I increased my, I got a stronger dose of hair, skin, and nails. I started taking stronger multivitamins. I started doing the biotin. I got special hair growth shampoo and conditioner. I started doing scalp massages, and my hair is growing back. My center part isn't as far back. It's not quite as wide. You can see all of these hairs right here. These are all new hairs. So every time you see me with like these little, fuzzies, it's like these are all my new hairs growing in. You can see in my initial videos, when I had like back from February, when I would have my hair pulled back, you could see like bald spots. It was really embarrassing, but now look, it's like all growing back in. So the good thing with keto hair loss is it is temporary. Your body finally adjusts to, not having all these carbs and everything. Is no longer in shock, and your hair will grow back. So it is temporary. So I'm extremely happy and grateful that was my only negative side effect. Okay, so I think I'm going to stop the video here, and then the second part is going to be all about food and what I eat and how I prep and things like that. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.